On this episode of the OnStage Black Theater podcast, we are schmigga happy talking about this year's Tony Awards. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the OnStage Black Theater podcast. And this week we are talking about the Tony Awards. This is our big recap. It's very exciting. I am theater critic Rachel Wagner, and we have a great panel with us to recap the Tony broadcast. We have Chris Peterson. You here?
Hello, hello.
Yay.
Good to see
Yes.
everybody.
And Jacqueline Collier is here.
Hello.
And we have our friend Megan Gutierrez from Utah Theater Lovers is here.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. And yeah, it's going to be fun to dive in. I guess we should maybe just start with overall thoughts of the broadcast as a whole, how we felt it went. Chris, why don't you start your overall thoughts?
Yeah, it was a positively confusing telecast for me. Like
Yeah.
confusing, but in a positive way. Where like the sequence of the awards they gave out, that was seemed like all over the place.
Yeah.
Performances for the most part were pretty strong. It seemed to move really quickly. I thought it was like, man, are we gonna be over by like 9 o'clock? This is great. Like we're just like speed running through these awards and then everything, slowed down. But and then not too many shockers for me in terms of winners. There were a couple that I was like expecting to go one way and went completely different direction in some positive ways as well. But yeah, that's kind of the overall thought there. But
Yeah. And Jack, what did you think?
Just described it. And I wouldn't have said that myself, but now that he put words to it, I'm like, I can relate to that. I think for me, going into it, I was like, like Pink's awesome, but like she's never been on Broadway. I was like, will this be interesting? Like she can say she's a theater girl through and through, one of us. I loved her. I thought she was such a fun host. I thought Neil Patrick Harris kicking it off with her was a lot of fun. I really felt so much of like the joy of the theater community and what it means to be an artist, what it means to engage with art. And also I just had fun and I cried. I cried several times. So I had a really good time watching the awards this year. It was really, really special.
Megan, what do you think?
A little bit in that same mindset where I just thoroughly enjoyed the broadcast. I really found a lot of enjoyment in it. I think Pink did a fantastic job. I think Neil Patrick Harris will always be a little bit near and dear to my heart because I just love when he hosts. But I thought the handoff and the interactions there were great. And I cried. I got emotional as well. I watched it with my first time. My 12-year-old watched it for the first time with me, and because she went to New York and saw a lot of the shows this year, and so she loved it. And just like sharing that with her and the overall emotions. Jacqueline, kind of to your point, it's seeing the people love their craft, love what they do, passionate about what they do, and it brought tears to my eyes several times as well.
I overall enjoyed watching it. Wasn't able to do a New York trip this year, and so this and the Thanksgiving Parade are really my only inside peeks into the season, unfortunately. And a lot of people, I think, share that experience with the Tony Awards. They look forward to because they can see these shows and little clips. I think some of the shows used their time better than others. Some shows showcased their shows, I think, better than others. Um, and so, what are you going to do? I do like the fact that it did seem like that they honored a lot of shows. It wasn't one of those behemoth years where, one show just kind of takes over and wins everything. You had a lot of different shows, maybe less so with the plays, but you had still a number of plays that got recognized. So that's always nice to see, and it gives you a chance to hear from a lot of different performers and different things like that, and different companies. So I liked that. But let's dive into that opening number. And I do think Pink crushed it. Like it was way better than I expected, that's for sure. Yeah, it was
Honestly,
very fun opening number. And
I think some of the criticism going in, or the skepticism, I should say, makes sense. And also, you don't really know if someone can do it until they do it, which is
Yeah,
kind
it's
of the whole
true.
thing of it. So it is a good reminder and a lesson to be like, okay, maybe like let's reserve a little bit of our judgment until we see it happen. But also, I get because people are thinking that they want Broadway legend to host. So I understand and can hold space for all those feelings, but it
Yeah.
was a damn good time.
It's true. You don't know until they try it because sometimes taking those swings, it doesn't pay off. Like James Franco and Anne Hathaway hosting the Oscars. That was all-time disaster. And but you know, they gave it a shot. They tried, and it doesn't work. And then sometimes things like this, taking a risk with her, it totally paid off. She was very fun. And if she's not in in a upcoming cast of Chicago, I'll be shocked.
Right.
Yeah, because that was quite an audition for that show, I think.
Well, and I think that goes to the tenet of what the theater community is. It's about being inclusive. It's about being
Yeah,
welcoming to everybody,
yeah,
and hopefully, people recognize that like it. You don't have to be a Broadway legend to be in part of this community and to love the community, like and be involved in it. And I think that's just kind of a testament to the community and being open and to receiving something different, which is how we grow and how we learn.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I should point out that there was actually a Tony Award that I got to participate in this year because as a member of the American Theater Critics Association, I was able to vote for the regional Tony winner. And American Players Theater in Wisconsin was the winner. I was hoping it would be Pioneer Theater Company. I think they probably got pretty close because they were nominated,
They deserve
and
it.
hopefully it'll their time will come. But anyway, American Players Theater the was the regional Tony in small. It's in this let's see, presents a full slate of shows in the small town of Spring Green, about an hour west of Madison. So that's super cool. Way to
That's cool.
go. Yeah. And so that's fun. So first award of the night, John Lithgow for Giant. It's his third Tony. So that was nice to see him get that award. And he had a nice speech, I thought. Those
Created a lot of my own story around that, which was that like I think he's a fantastic actor and honestly like gave a really great speech. But I think the things that he said about J.K. Rowling and like not really coming out very strongly, sort of defending what I think is some hateful rhetoric was interesting. And watching Cole's face when they presented it, it was like Cole is being a complete class act, but I was like, look, I was projecting all my own things onto it. Chris, were you having that moment too, or am I just
Well, I mean, it was kind of one of those like weird dichotomies because I was very happy that Nathan Lane didn't win for the Scott Rudin of it all. Like I wanted Scott Rudin to lose as much as possible throughout the entire night,
he didn't
and
lose much. He didn't
he
lose
didn't lose
much.
much. But this was one of the characters, and I think if anybody would have mentioned him in their speech, it would have been Nathan Lane. So like, I'm glad that didn't happen. And then immediately the kick in of I thought the exact same thing, Jack, about John Lithgow, where I was like, okay, here we go. But I mean, I was rooting for Daniel Radcliffe in that entire
Yeah.
category from start to finish. So that was where my first disappointment came from. And then like talk about positive confusion, where I was like, oh, we're leading off with Best Actor in a play. Okay, okay, here we go. We're jumping right into it. So
Yeah.
yeah, but I had heard from a lot of Tony voters that I know, and a lot of people that vote in other awards. Things that like while Nathan Lane had gotten a lot of buzz and a lot of talk, there was this like secret campaign that Lithgow was going to probably get it, walking into last night.
Yeah. And Megan, did you get to see any of the plays in your recent trip?
I saw Every Brilliant Thing, yeah, and I thought
Okay, that's
that
great.
was fantastic. And so Daniel Radcliffe was right up there for me as well. A couple people in our group, I think, did see Giant, but I think most of us were rooting for Every Brilliant Thing on that one.
Okay. All right. And so then we had the first performance was Schmigadoon, and they did Schmigadoon. I was really surprised that they didn't do corn pudding.
I don't know the
That's
show. Like I never could get through the series.
oh
I was
really?
always kind of bored with it. And so I don't know the song. I
Uh-huh.
liked that song because I was able to talk to my daughter about all the Easter eggs in it from classic theater and that kind of stuff, and that was fun. But I'm not a big fan of the show in general.
Did you see it or no?
No, I had no desire
Okay.
to see it. I couldn't even
Okay,
know.
fair enough. Fair
Nope, that
enough.
was not. I was like, nope, that's not even going to go on my radar of something I want to see.
I really did I loved the series, especially season two. I don't know, I just thought that Corn Pudding's the more iconic song. That's what I would have done, but I guess they wanted the more introduction song. Our friend Mark Benani, who had jury duty, or he would have been here, he did say that he said, you can mention that I thought it was an amazing show. Very happy with most wins. Thrilled for Schmigadoon, obviously. Pink was incredible. Opening number was a standout. So,
I know Mark is our Schmigadoon boy,
yeah,
and I was
yeah.
thinking about him during that. Megan, I'm very similar to you in that I didn't watch the series and I haven't seen the show, although because of the classical musical theater of it all, I was like, I think I want to see Schmigadoon now. Like it made me want to see it.
Yeah.
And before it wasn't really on my radar. And Sarah Chase just looks like a gosh darn delight. And like everyone in it, I was like, oh, I kind of want to see this now. I
I
think it
think
would
they
put a
did
smile on my face.
yeah, they used their time well. I would have done Corn Pudding, but I still, I thought they sold the show pretty well. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think it would definitely be those two numbers that I think, or the picnic song between Mackenzie Gertz and Alex
Mm,
Brightman's a really good one, but that's just two people, so you don't want to have that. But yeah, I thought to your point, I think it's for the commercial sake, like come sell, like we're trying to sell tickets in case you don't win the big award tonight. Like it was a good presentation of that, so to speak. But yeah, Schmigadoon is one of those shows that like you see it and you're going to walk away very pleasantly happy with a lot of things. I mean, you walk out of a musical comedy with no darkness really whatsoever. There's
Mhm.
just kind of a smile on your face, and things like that, which again, I think they were trying to portray in that number.
yeah, yeah. Well, so next then we had Laurie Metcalf winning for Death of a Salesman for featured actress in a play. Obviously, Laurie Metcalf's a legend. She's incredible. This is her third Tony. I did think it was a little annoying that she's like name dropping her friends from college. I'm like, we know
Do you know why
you're
she
great.
did that though?
Why?
So there was a huge controversy over Little Bear Road and the Steppenwolf Theater Company, where like Scott Rudin and her gave an ultimatum that she would like either quit Steppenwolf if they didn't give to her the rights, or Scott Rudin the rights to produce it on Broadway. And so Steppenwolf basically came out
Ah,
and said, okay, but we're not going to really welcome you around Steppenwolf anymore. And so it was this huge deal where if you read that as well as the New Yorker piece that she did, where there's combative, comments about what actually happened there. It's like, yeah, she needed to extend an olive branch during her speech to the Steppenwolf folks.
oh,
But
that's why
yeah,
she had to mention her friends?
yeah, I mean that's why she did it. And what was
Oh,
interesting is I
okay. I
watched the
was like, we
technical
get it. You're
awards.
famous. Like, we don't need to hear a list of your friends.
Uh,
I don't know.
I think what was interesting was, when you looked at the technical awards early in the night when Death of a Salesman was winning for like sound design and lighting,
Yeah.
nobody was mentioning Scott Rudin by name. Like everybody was just thanking producers and leadership. But like,
Yeah.
so when Lori started speaking, and as soon as she didn't say Scott Rudin, I was like, this is going to become a thing all night. So if you had a drinking game saying that you're going to take a shot every time Scott Rudin was mentioned,
You
like you are
stay very
stone cold sober by the
sober.
end of it.
Stay very
So
sober.
it
Wait,
became very interesting that was going to happen.
sorry,
Yeah.
Chris, can you I think I was following that, but I just want to make sure. Scott Rudin and Laurie Metcalf strong arm Steppenwolf for the rights. So Scott Rudin and Laurie Metcalf on the same side against Steppenwolf.
Yep,
I
and
didn't know that.
basically said like and the
Wow.
ultimatum was that Laurie Metcalf would quit Steppenwolf if they don't give her the rights, her and Rudin the rights to do it on Broadway. Steppenwolf did not want to do it with Rudin involved because of everything that happened,
Of
and so that
course.
became the thing. So that's just like
Wow.
it's tough to say because like she's such an amazing actress, but it's just like one more reason
Yeah.
for me not to cheer for Laurie Metcalf.
Mm.
I didn't realize
I
that.
I did love her dress.
Yeah,
She
she
looked
looked
great. She looked
fabulous.
great.
And I
And
I
Look
haven't
great.
seen her in Death of a Salesman, but even though I had mixed feelings about Little Bear Ridge Road, I mean
You
she's
did see that.
phenomenal. Yeah,
You
and I
did,
mean,
yeah, yeah.
she's incredible. Like the show itself is good to okay, but her performance is stunning. And everyone's saying that like this is a performance of a lifetime in
Yeah.
Death of a Salesman. But always interesting to hear those tidbits, Chris. Did not
Yeah.
know that.
So then we had Ragtime. They did Ragtime, and it was really good. I enjoyed it. People now think that I like hate Ragtime. I don't hate Ragtime. I just don't love it as much as other people love it. There's a difference, right? I just wish that the show was fully focused on Sarah and Coalhouse. I don't need to spend time with Houdini. I don't need to spend time with Nesbitt. I don't need to spend time. It's just I don't know. I just think it's a little overcrowded. I don't think it's perfect. I don't think it's a masterpiece, but I don't hate
Rachel
it.
hates magic. She hates Houdini.
I
This is
don't
going to be
hate
what's
it.
coming out now.
And I do think the music is undeniably beautiful. And so I will never deny an opportunity to see it if someone's putting it on. I just wish it wasn't so crowded and was more focused on the three main characters. That's my thoughts on Ragtime, but
I
this was
just
nice.
wish, yeah, my biggest thing with that wish is the original Broadway cast when they did their Tony's Awards, when they famously got robbed in hindsight by The Lion King.
Yes.
They did the opening number as well. And that Tony performance is legendary, like top
Yeah.
5 Tony performances of all time. So for me, I was actually hoping they were going to do a different number and not the
Yeah.
opening, which we all are going to compare it to Audra and Brian Stokes Mitchell and all that stuff. So I
Good
was a little
point.
disappointed that they did don't get me wrong, it's a phenomenal open number. They did a great job. But it was like I was hoping maybe they were going to do Wheels of a Dream. They're going to do something else, you know.
Yeah.
I
Good
But
was too,
point.
and I love Wheels of a Dream. Like I thought that would have been incredible.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. But yeah, I mean, it looked very impressive. It made me, want to see it, even though I'm not the biggest Ragtime fan in the world. I mean, Megan, what do you think of Ragtime? Do you guys see it, right?
I saw it, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that one. It was a crowd favorite for our group. A lot of people really loved it. It was I think we saw 10 shows. It was in the lower numbers, like down by probably 8 or 9.
Hmm.
It was a beautiful production. I thought it was a stunning production, but I felt it was a little bit cold. I didn't feel super connected to the characters.
Hmm.
I love Casey Levy, and I don't think it tapped her acting abilities nearly as well as it could have. So I just felt a little bit removed. I was excited for my daughter to see it for the first time, and she was bored out of her mind. Um,
Yeah.
and
Interesting.
yeah, so overall, and I liked that they did that production or that number for the opening, for the Tonys last night, because I think it's so iconic, and not everybody has seen the original, right? Like for example, my daughter, and when that was the only moment of the whole Tony Awards where she went, "Wow!" when they all came up on stage. That was the only moment she said that. I thought it was impressive, but I can take or leave Ragtime any day of the week.
Okay, and I'm not the only one.
No, Rachel, you're not alone.
And I would definitely pick Lion King over Ragtime. Sorry, Chris.
that's okay.
But okay, so we have then we had Cats. Then we had director actually, and so the Cats Jellicle Ball, the directors, Zillian Livingston and Bill Auck. Were the winners, and that's cool. I don't know if that many co-directors have won together like that. Yeah,
No, I'd have
so
to
that was,
look, but I think it's one of the few times that that's actually happens. Yeah, if ever.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was glad that they got something that in the main telecast, the Cats, because I think most of their awards were in the earlier part. So that was good. And then we have direction of a play, Joe Montello, Death of a Salesman.
Which, yes, was expected, but I wanted Whitney White to win so bad for Liberation.
Yeah,
I
for
wanted
real.
her to win so much.
Yeah, yeah.
Whatever, though.
So then we had Chances and My Heart Will Go On from Titanic, and what was this? Like, they actively made their show look terrible. Is that the way she sings in the
So I
show?
this is my thoughts. I'm putting things together. I don't have this on good authority, only from someone who saw it in the basement at Christie's, then saw it at Daryl Roth. So I've seen the show like 10 times. I've not seen it on Broadway. Know people that were in it. Also know that Marla left performing briefly because she has really terrible stage fright. When they were on like one of the late night shows, she also had a tricky moment. Um, uh, it was electric, especially as a queer person, to be in the theater watching that show. I don't know what happened last night. It wasn't just the singing. The performance didn't convey at all what it felt like. Maybe it doesn't translate to a Broadway stage. And Marla is a fantastic singer and actor, but she was fighting for her life and losing. I don't know what happened.
It almost sounded like it was a bit. I was like, is this a bit for the show of like a part of a joke? Because it was bad.
No, she usually sounds phenomenal. Like it's not a bit.
Yeah, I have no desire to see the show, and I have no desire to see the show after that.
When win me over. That's, I mean, Chris, what on earth?
I will say the
What was
joke
that?
that she told going to commercial break was hilarious. Which was, that was like,
What did she tell? I don't remember.
it was a joke about Pink and the nautical men that are aboard the ship.
Oh, the lesbians?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was
I remember
I
that.
literally spit my drink that was in my mouth when they said it.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's one of those show moments where like in my head I thought they were going to kill it. I said if there was one show that could really use the Tonys to their advantage, given what the show is, it would be that one. And then I'm trying to remember other shows where that there were kind of similar, where lackluster performance. But please go see the show because it's so good. This is a terrible representation of it. But yeah, I agree on all points. It was one of those like, what happened? Yeah.
it was not good. I felt bad for her. I really did. Okay, then we had Megan Thee Stallion. Her dress, she was killing it in that dress, I thought. Really looked great.
I think if you have eyes and a pulse, you'd be like, "Ooh,
Yeah, it's really
like
good.
goodness me." Okay.
Yeah. And we had
Gorgeous.
Shoshana Bean, a featured actress in a musical for The Lost Boys. That was fun. I felt like that was a surprise that people weren't expecting
It
her
was
to
like,
win.
I felt it was one of those awards where like, yeah, like there were definitely, it could have gone a lot of different ways, but I think if you're someone who's been a longtime fan of Broadway, Shoshana's grown with us for like decades.
Yeah.
And so it just like not only her, but like later on in the ceremony, you had other people that are true
Casey
troopers, if you will,
and
that
Josh
like,
Henry.
yeah, like, and so for me, it almost felt like a lifetime achievement award for her. And I was
Mhm.
overjoyed that she was
Yeah.
getting her due, basically.
Yeah.
Well deserved.
Yeah. And you saw Lost Boys, right, Megan, in
Yeah.
your trip? What'd you think?
It was my number 2. I mean, we saw Outsiders,
Oh.
so and I've seen that a couple times. That was my number 1 still. But this was my number 2 show of the trip. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was a lot of fun and just my type of musical. So I was kind of really bummed to not see it do as well as I had hoped because I feel like they need it. But I thought it was great, and Shoshana Beam, of course, was amazing.
But I think it did better than some people expected, at least. I mean, 2 of the acting prizes went to it, and some technicals. I think it won four prizes, I think.
I think it's done better than any other vampire show that's ever been on Broadway. So
Fair. That's fair.
I mean,
Yes.
it's got that for it.
Yes.
I'm excited. I'm seeing it on Saturday, so I'm like
okay.
pumped.
Yeah, it was really good, especially if you've seen like the movie, like the original. I love the original, so it was fun.
So then we had Jellicle songs for Jellicle Cats and the Jellicle Ball from Cats the Jellicle Ball, and super fun, great. They did a good job selling that that new version of this show, and
I
delightful.
might be like an outcast on this one. I did not love Cats.
You didn't love it, okay?
Yeah,
Are you in
especially-
general a Cats fan?
Well, who is? But honestly,
Yeah.
so I had really high expectations for it, especially as a member of the queer community. I had really high expectations. I love the queer representation it brought, and I thought the queer representation last night was fantastic. And I love what it's doing for theater, but I left it intermission.
Oh, whoa.
That's a hot take.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a hot take. I know, but I think also like most of the people in our group who did see it also were not overly impressed. I think the premise is amazing. I thought the premise was amazing. I still like the premise, but I felt the choreography was almost rudimentary and elementary, and I did not feel and I recognize drag scene and all of that, but I just did not feel like it hit hard enough. And like this felt under rehearsed, and it felt a little bit like I'm like, okay, this might be what I had seen a high school production of it. So I was a little bit let down.
Yeah, interesting. And you haven't seen it, Jax, right?
No, I haven't seen it. It didn't make me want to see it, but I thought it was fine.
I've followed it since way off Broadway, and I've got we've got a friend that's an assistant director of it, or associate director, one of the two. And so I really had hoped that I would have better thoughts around it.
All right. So then we had Best Play, Liberation won, which was exciting for them. That was great.
It had already closed by the time we got there. Jacqueline, you told me to go. I remember you telling me
I remember the conversation
to go see it. So it was on my short list, and then it closed. I was so bummed, but I'm so glad because I heard it from other people as well to go see it. I'm so glad it did well.
Well, it won the Pulitzer, so that was a good sign in its favor.
Yes.
So there you go. Then we had Two Strangers Carry a Cake. They did New York and American Express, and they used their time well, I think.
Yes.
They really sold the show. I think a lot of people would want to see it after watching that.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Rachel. And as someone, they use their time well, and as someone who saw it, it's even more magical. I mean, that is the case a lot of times with theater, but like I had goosebumps like for so much of that show. And I just think that it's just an incredible love letter to New York too. And the performances are so fantastic. But yeah, I think that was a really good showing.
I was kind of hoping that they might win book. I'd heard that predicted by some people, just so they would get something, because I've never seen it, but I've heard that it's really sweet.
Yeah, it was really good, and a lot of our people in our group really loved it, and my 12-year-old, it was one of her favorites as well. So
I think between Two Strangers and then maybe Happy Ending last year, I think again small musicals work. Like they sell. Like this idea that it has to be these large, gigantic spectacles. Are the only thing that people want to see that's not true. And so smaller shows work, and smaller overhead. They can survive on Broadway longer.
Even if you think about like something like Six, I mean, even though it has more actors, it's pretty small in the scale, at least, of what it's doing. So yeah, I agree. Okay, then we had Titus Burgess. He couldn't read the font. It's like, how did they not cover that in dress rehearsal? Like, what?
You would think.
Yeah, you would think. But that we had Ali Louise Borski, sorry. Well, Ali Louise Borgsy in The Lost Boys winning. And he had a great speech.
He
had a really good, yeah.
Oh, probably one of the best of the evening. Like, it was so good.
Yeah. People say theater is a form of escape, but I've found more than ever, theater is one of the last places people can come to worship the power of true collective human presence.
I love
that. I mean, that was like, I was sobbing. Every part of that speech, like when he said,
me too.
I loved when he said, this is dedicated to the beautiful tapestry of immigrant families to make this country really special. May you one day not to have to audition for the empathy that should be freely given by this country and benefits from your beauty for the queer and trans communities who will exist no matter what people in power try to take away from them. Yes.
Yeah, it was a very good speech.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Just made me love the show even more.
Then we had Chicago Medley. And I have to say, the Tonys the last few years, the tributes have been so good that you almost feel bad for the new shows, because it's like, oh, these old shows are looking so like Hamilton was so good last year.
Oh,
This
it
year,
was.
it was great. I mean, the Chicago, it's like, okay, I get it. Well, I was just talking to a friend of mine who, our friend Tanner, who saw, he was like, I don't get why this is a thing for so long. Like, why is this? And you watch something like this performance, you're like, yeah, I get it. Why it is, that's why, you know? So it was great. And Alex,
Yeah,
oh
it
my
was.
gosh, she's so good.
Oh, she was
Mhm.
amazing. That was one of my, again, another favorite part of the evening was
Oh,
just seeing her perform. She was
yeah,
incredible.
she is
Incredible.
so good. Then we had lead actress in a play, Leslie Manville for Oedipus, and her another good speech, very entertaining. It
Yep.
was nice to see that. Um, then we had Sweet Transvestite and Time Warp from Rocky Horror. I thought they used their time very well. They, I've heard
100%.
I've heard
Yes.
mixed things about this revival. I thought they sold it. Like I would
I
want
want
to
to see it.
see it based on
Mhm.
just this. It was very good. I
I've
Yeah.
I'm
I've
not a
heard
fan of the show.
do you see
yeah.
this revival,
No,
Megan?
I didn't see it. I don't care for the show that much. It's a little bit
Mm-hmm.
too campy for me.
I can
So
see that.
it didn't do anything to sell it for me. If you
Oh,
like
really?
camp, it sold it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. I get that.
It says it does what it says on the tin. Like it
Exactly.
Yeah.
represented it's not tricking you. It's like it showed the full potential of what Rocky Horror can be in all its
Yep.
campy glory.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really was entertained by it. I like I like the show. I like the movie, but I just heard mixed things about this production and all the stuff with the callbacks and all of that nonsense,
Yeah.
and so to see them come out and really use that time very well. Like if they do a national tour, I think people will want to go
Mhm.
see it now. I do.
I
Uh,
hope it will be an opt-in to the package, frankly.
yeah, I can see that. I can see that. I mean, Chris, what do you think of this?
Yeah, no, it's one of those shows where I think behind the scenes they've been battling this like the callback issue has been huge about
Yeah.
Hmm.
trying to embrace their existing fandom and attract new fans. And how do you balance that with a live
Hmm.
theater audience that's not used to a midnight showing of the movie and things like that? So you've got this constant dichotomy that's going on there. But yeah, to your point, this is a show that's been revived a couple times. Their revival years ago with Raul Esparza and Tom Hewitt and all the things. That was a fantastic production as well. So yeah, I think yeah, to your point, I think they served themselves well, last night and really appealed. But again, it's that battle of like when you bring these new people into this theater that's never been exposed to this show before, and you've got a quarter of the audience screaming things midway through, the show. It's like what's going on here? And they haven't properly defined that yet
Hmm.
as a
Yeah.
They did
public
a pretty
policy.
good job at Pioneer Theater Company, I think, here when they had that show of they had the goodie bags that you could buy, kind of
Mhm.
explaining everything with the whole experience. So I feel like it can be done. They sent us all emails, and so yeah, the whole thing was kind of a mess, but
Yeah, I feel like we did that show in grad school, and what we did was like we had a midnight showing on Halloween. That was when everyone who like because the Rocky Horror as an entity really does in many ways belong to the people who are the ones going to the midnight showings and yelling out the things at the callbacks.
yeah,
Like it's such a community of people that like do it every year, or sometimes some of them do it every weekend. And I think it was nice the way we did it, where it was like, okay, the midnight showing is for that. The rest of the shows are for the people who want to see it as a piece
yeah.
of
I
theater.
could see that as a
Yeah.
possible solution.
It's a good
Okay,
call.
then we had Sting presenting Best Revival to Ragtime, and obviously it was a two horse race between them and Cats, and I think it might have been nice to have seen Cats win just because they were more transformative, but the Ragtime looks like it was excellent, so way
Yeah,
to
what was
go.
interesting with that was, so I had felt the same way. I was like, okay, in my heart, I wanted Cats to win because of the transfer, like the reinvention of a piece and
Yeah.
making Cats interesting, and things like
Yes.
that.
Fair.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
but we all knew Ragtime was a favorite. Now, here's the interesting thing: as the night started, when Cats started winning Best Choreography and then won Best
Hmm.
Director of a Musical, I was like, oh, it's going to win Best Revival because since
Okay.
2000. only 3 times has a director won Best Director and then not won Best Musical or Best Musical Revival. So I was like, this is a shoe-in for. And then when Ragtime won, I was like, okay, we're going back to to
Hmm.
uh, the favorite, so to speak. So that was a little shocking for me. But other than that, yeah, I didn't really see a surprise there.
I guess it feels like in 20 years, are people going to be talking about this revival of ragtime? Probably not. Are people going to be talking about Cats the Jellicle Ball? Probably.
Yeah, 100%.
So
Well, and that might be just it, is just kind of like the Wicked Avenue Q thing.
yeah.
Wicked didn't get the Tony, Avenue Q did, and it gave Avenue Q a longer shelf life than Wicked, because Wicked is going to run forever. So it might be kind of that idea,
Hmm.
is where Ragtime we know is going to do, or Cats we know is going to do well because it's an audience favorite, it's critics favorite. But Ragtime maybe needed the Tony to continue the sales for a little while.
Hmm.
Maybe. Okay, then we had the memorial and the in memoriam
Beautiful.
without you, Leslie Odom Jr. Great job.
So good.
Yeah,
They should
beautiful.
release. They honestly should release that and make it the Broadway Cares for
Yeah,
Broadway
Yes, that's
Cares.
a great idea.
Yeah, that
they
would
should.
sell really good. Okay, then they had Paul Rudd presenting featured actor in a play, Alden Ehrenreich for Becky Shaw. I feel like that was a little bit of a surprise, maybe.
You
People
know
weren't
what's
expecting, so
interesting?
I'm
I
happy
saw
for him.
Becky Shaw on Saturday night. No, Friday night. And wow, he
He was
was great.
he was really good. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
he
awesome.
was really, and I no, I mean, I'd read the play like when it came out, and the play was good. The play was really good. There are lots of interesting things in there to unpack, but like he really gave an incredible performance, and I thought his speech was, I was really touched by it. It
Yeah.
seemed very like genuinely humble and loving, and it was fun to see a first time nominee win like that. I think it's his
Yeah.
first show on Broadway too.
Yeah, I think
It
so.
was.
So then we had the Lost Boys, No More Monsters, Have to Have You, and Lose Yourself. So I'm glad to hear you say, Megan, that you really enjoyed it because I was not into this performance. The No More Monsters I liked, but then it became like this just felt like I was at a cheesy 80s cover band concert with like songs I didn't know. I
That was
just
kind
was
of the
just
idea. I mean, that was
yes. It's just
it
like
was
what?
it does give that vibe off, but it's better told when you're in this
I'm
theater
sure
to.
that's
Yeah,
true.
I don't know if they picked the best representation for the show.
It's
Maybe that's why
Yeah.
it
interesting.
was so. Maybe that's why I was so turned on because I was like cheesy '80s cover band. It sold me.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
read that the reason why they didn't do, like, everybody expected them to do this one number, and I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen the show yet, but everybody's expecting them to do this one number because of a technical element that would have been like, oh my God. And I guess the lead producer came out and said they didn't do that because they didn't want to spoil it for the audience. And it was kind
Oh,
of like one of those like, okay, but in Wicked they did the act one closer when, she
Yeah,
rises. So like, okay, so it's a roll
Sell
of
it.
dice. And that's a show that, from a budgetary reason, that needs to run for like 5 years. So like, they
Yeah.
needed all the help they could get out of that. So
yeah.
it's one of those roll of dice decisions there. But
I don't think they sold it well. I really
I
don't.
don't think they. I it.
No.
I didn't walk away thinking, oh yeah, that was a show I loved. Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's interesting. That says a lot, I think. What do you think, Jax, of the
I mean,
Lost
I
Boys?
I thought it looked great. I think also I
Oh,
was
you did.
primed. I was no, I think I was just primed because of Valley's speech
Yeah.
and knowing I'm seeing it this weekend and knowing what this show means to a lot of people and also yeah I think there was a lot of me also like yeah I it felt
Hmm.
very sexy like it
Yeah.
felt very
It is.
sexy and I was like okay.
Oh, my
Yeah.
12-year-old was, he walked out, Allie walked out, she's like, he's hot. I'm like, wait,
Yeah,
what? I'm like, you're 12. You don't say those. Like, she does not say those kind of things. I'm like, hot isn't, he looks hot, like, temperature. I asked her, like, temperature what? She's like, no, he's good looking. And then when he was out of costume, she's like, he's just as hot. I'm like, okay, stop. But okay.
He's a
Yeah,
very
it's a
attractive
very
young. He's a
sexy
very
show.
attractive young man, for sure. Okay, so then we had revival of a play, Billy Crystal, Death of a Salesman, and why, Chris? Why do you think Death of a Salesman seems to be so timeless? The themes, it
Well,
seems
it's like,
to,
yeah, it's one of those
yeah.
shows that you could just set it in any period, and given what's happening with socioeconomics during that time, it's going to be relevant. I mean,
Hmm.
there's other shows like that, like The Crucible is another one where you could do The Crucible at any decade in history, and it's going
Hmm.
to be relevant in some way or another.
Because
It's
we just
also
had a revival of Death Salesman not that long ago, right? Just two,
That's
three
the
years
and
ago.
that's the part that's the why that's like reason number 800 why this production annoyed me so much was that like we had this great production with Wendell Pierce playing the title role who arguably should have also won a Tony that year for his portrayal, and but that was much more, even though it was a majority black production, much more of a traditional presentation of the play as opposed to this, which is a complete different reinvention
Yeah.
of what that show is, which is again like annoying reason number 900 of why I hate this show so much. But like um, yeah, it was just it's to me there are certain titles where I wish Tony voters would just get out of themselves and stop awarding it just because it's a title. They do this with Virginia Woolf anytime they do a
Yeah.
revival of it. It's like if anybody's playing these roles in Virginia Woolf, they have to get these awards and things like that. And
Yeah.
it's just one of those things that drives me nuts. So I was not thrilled at all that this was back for many, many reasons. And yeah, so anytime they won, I was just literally just waiting for someone to say Scott Rudin, and that's all I cared about.
And they won the most. They won 6 awards, Deaf Salesman. So there you go. Okay, then we had Man Up from the Book of Mormon. I thought it was a little strange they didn't do I Believe. It just seemed like an
Or
odd
even the
Well, they
song
did it last
change.
beginning.
time. Yeah, they did it last time too. When the original was up,
Oh,
that was
they
their
did?
performances, I believe.
Huh.
So it was nice to have like Josh Gad finally get to do a performance of
That's
Yeah,
the
true.
Book of
that
Mormon.
was
Yeah.
fun. I mean I'm not the biggest Book of Mormon fan, but it
Never
was
mind.
it was fun. I enjoyed it. But yeah.
I just think their friendship is so cute.
Yeah.
Like I think for me, I like Book of Mormon was good. It was fun, but it definitely was not a life-changing show for me or even one that I need to see again. But I just think that that long-standing friendship, and then I saw both of them in Gutenberg, and I just think they seem so sweet together.
Yeah, no, I agree. They that is very sweet. Okay, then we had a chorus line tribute. Rachel Zegler, What I Did for Love. Super fun. Enjoyed that.
Yep.
Well, it, oh, go ahead. What were you gonna say, Chris?
Oh, where were the dancers?
Yeah, it was
Yes.
a little odd.
Look, Rachel Zegler. I mean, her. I mean, what I did for love. I wanted to see her in the freaking leotard, like, and then
The
them
kick
doing like, "I
line.
hope I get it," and then her coming out. Like, I wanted a medley. I wanted a
Yeah.
medley. And look, I
Yeah,
know
kick
she's
line.
filming
It
on
would have
tech
been
right now, so she's busy. So I'm not saying, girl, you can do no wrong in my book. I love you, Rachel Zegler, but like, she's busy filming on tech. But still, I wanted a medley.
well, and since they're at
And
Radio City, it would have been you could have had the Rockettes come on. That would have been
Oh
fun
my gosh, that was so
for a
cool.
chorus
do
Brilliant.
line.
something. I
Yeah.
Yep.
had heard from somebody on the inside that that was a late edition,
Hmm.
and because it was so late, and for those listening who don't know, like when anytime you have performers, there's union money, like there's just
Yeah.
logistics that they just couldn't get anything together dance wise. But like that's why you plan early. That's why you try to and
Yeah.
Yep.
It would have
yeah.
been fun if they could have had like Kelly Bishop there or somebody like that,
Mm,
from the
yeah.
original cast. That would have been fun. Anyway, but I still enjoyed it. Then we had Darren Criss, Nicole Scherzinger presenting actor and actress in a musical. Casey Levi, best actress for Ragtime. Her speech was very sweet. I thought it was a nice moment. Her thanking all the babysitters.
That was
You
yes.
know,
I
yeah.
just think I mean, well, I go back to Ghost with Casey and like how she just blew me away on that recording. And what I
Mm.
love about this whole situation is like she was supposed to be Shoshana Bean's character in
Yeah.
Lost Boys and had to drop out and not had to decided to drop out, and they both get Tonys, which I think is like that's awesome. That's
That is
awesome.
fantastic.
That
Yeah,
also,
it was very cool.
Chris, to add on to the whole lore of that, like Shoshana Bean, wasn't she doing beaches out of town? And so it's like all the shuffling that happened. Um, Jessica Vasquez, has a closed show and didn't get to perform at the Tonys, but it worked out for the other two. And Jessica Vasquez had to do an
Mhm.
incredible role. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, yeah.
yeah,
Two former Alpha Buzz won last night, which was great. So there you
Yeah.
go.
yeah.
Well,
And
and it's just like her mentioning the importance of motherhood and her, especially for playing mother. Her talking about that you're able to pursue her dreams and also pursue her dreams as a mother at the same time. I thought it was very, very sweet and something that we should really prioritize helping
Yes,
women to achieve all of their dreams, not just their career dreams, but also their motherhood dreams. I thought that was very very
absolutely.
sweet.
And when she said how half of like part of her always stays with her kids, and I will say I
Yeah.
know two girls that were with her in Wicked when she was playing Elsa, and like she takes care of the littles. Like
Oh yeah.
people are,
Yeah.
she's just a wonderful human being. So I'm so happy
Mhm.
for her.
Yeah. And then we had Joshua Henry for Best Actor for Ragtime. This was like the sure thing of the
Yeah,
night. There
so
was
well
no
deserved.
question of what was going to happen here. And yeah, so well deserved. It was nice that he thanked Audra and Brian Stokes Mitchell. That was really fun in his
Hmm.
speech.
As he should, as he
Yeah.
should.
Yeah,
He's
that was
another one
good.
that, I go back with Joshua all the way back to when he was in the Heights, and it
Hmm.
like to see again journey, growth. Also one of the hands down one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. Like
Yeah.
fame has not phased him one bit. Like
That makes
he's
Hmm.
a
me happy.
god in the musical theater world, and you would think that he's a chorus member, like the way he
Yeah.
carries himself.
That's incredible.
Just one of the nicest, sweetest guys. Yeah.
So then our final award was Bernadette Peters announcing Best Musical for Schmigadoon. Chris, did that surprise you at all that Schmigadoon ended up winning?
No, because it was the safest choice for Tony voters to go with. I think
Hmm.
what was, and again, this is me being my Tony historian nerd self, but like it makes me think back to like 1991 when you had Will Rogers Follies up against Secret Garden, Once on This Island, and Miss Saigon. So you've got
Yeah, that one
like
is
this
very strange.
traditionally like like Broadway Tony favorite type of show versus other shows that were kind of risks that are kind of like different than what you typically would vote for. And everybody I've talked to who was alive during that time and working in the industry said that like Will Rogers Follies was the safe choice. Miss Saigon, Once on This Island, Secret Garden, those would have been kind of outside the box choices. So with
Mm.
this year, I felt in a, let's be honest, overall kind of weak year for new musicals. Schmigadoon was like the traditional, like, look, this is like everything you want in a Broadway musical
Yeah.
definitively. So let's just give it the trophy. With Lost Boys, it's more of a technical thing. With two people, it's you could really we just did a two-person musical last year, so let's not do that again. And Titanic, what it's just there by default because Beaches was Beaches. So like it was just one of those weird years that I think
Hmm.
Schmigadoon just survival of the fittest, if you will, as opposed to really earning the award, if that makes sense.
Jax, what did you think of it? Were you surprised at all that it won?
Was surprised it won. Um, no, because along the lines of what Chris is saying, I mean, Titanic definitely wasn't going to win. Um, I, yeah, I think I was thinking it could be Lost Boys, but yeah, I wasn't like shocked. No.
I wasn't surprised because literally Schmigadoon like employed Broadway during the pandemic. Like it's the reason people had work for I mean so
Yeah.
many of the people that would be voting were involved in some way or whatever in the show. So they're of course going to have I'm not saying it's not deserving or that it's not a good show. I haven't seen it. I'm just saying that it makes sense that not only were people employed and involved and used and it's an homage to Broadway, but also it kind of gave us some hope during those horrible
Mm.
times when Broadway's closed that we could watch Schmigadoon and feel that camaraderie and feel that all of that for a lot of us at least. So I think there's actually even though it's a new show, it is very nostalgic for a lot of reasons. And so I wasn't surprised, but I'm very happy for Cinco Paul and for the whole team, and I think that's great, and I definitely hope to be able to get to see it soon. So
Cinco is another one of those nicest people you ever meet
yeah,
type of
Really?
people. Yeah, he's phenomenal.
and he has Utah roots, so
See, and
I'm
I
a
posted
fan.
about it in the Facebook group. So we have the local group here,
Yeah.
and I was surprised. I was not expecting it.
Mm.
And a majority of the people that comment on the post were also surprised. There was a couple of people who are like
Interesting.
diehard Schmigadoon fans, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it deserved it," and everything. But for the most part, I would say 80% of the people that responded were also kind of surprised.
Mhm.
And I don't know why that
Yeah.
is.
You think that they were thinking Lost Boys?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think a lot of people were thinking, or Two Strangers, even, you know,
Yeah.
with the fact that, like, you know, maybe Happy Endings last year, you know, it can be done
Mhm.
and it's a great show. And so I think everybody kind of that I've talked to, it was those two shows. It was down to those two
Mhm.
shows, and
Mhm.
this one felt a little bit of out of left field from an audience perspective. You know, we're not the Tony nominee people; we're the people
Mhm.
that see the shows,
Yeah.
and everybody I've talked to was like, okay, or the majority of the people I've talked to are
Yeah.
like, okay, that was interesting for us.
Well, there we go. That is the Tonys this year. Congrats to all of the nominees and winners. This was a lot of fun to talk about. And we want to make sure that you follow OnStage blog all over the place. So we have daily articles, really good stuff. You want to make sure you do that. Jax, where can people follow you?
Jacqueline Collier on Instagram.
And Megan, why don't you tell people about Utah Theater Lovers, what anybody can follow and go on the trips and things like that?
Yeah, we do national trips as well. We're probably doing London next year. So we're primarily Theater Lovers Experience.
Mm-hmm.
I don't post as well as I should on the other handles, but we do have kind of an active Facebook group under Utah Theater Lovers where we have a lot more activity. And on Meetup is where we actually host all the events.
I'm sorry, did you say London? Rachel, we have to start saving. I went on a Utah Theater Lovers trip with Rachel and was like I would lived my theater girl dreams. Like, Megan, you do incredible
It's really
work
fun.
with this
Yeah.
organization.
Yeah.
Okay, seriously, I want the London details then.
Yeah. And you can find me at
Very
Rachel's
fun.
Reviews all over the place and rachelsreviewstheater.com. So check that out. And again, make sure to check out OnStage blog for all of your theater content. Lots of good stuff over
Yes.
there.
One more thing I will say before we start signing up.
Yeah.
If you thought this year was like nah, and then these 20s were like kind of lackluster, next year is going to be a bloodbath. I'll just put it out there.
Ooh,
Like with what's
yeah.
coming
Yeah,
and what's
Yankees.
opening
And it's the 80th
between
year.
the 80th year, between like, okay, you've got potentially Paddington up against the return of Lin-Manuel Miranda next year.
Yeah.
So like,
Warriors. Yeah.
good luck, Tony Rivers. That's all I gotta say.
Very good, very good.
It's gonna be
Well,
a
let us know
fun
what you
year.
think of the awards and everything we talked about. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments section or follow us on social media. If you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and check out our playlist with all of our episodes. We would sure appreciate that. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye.